This is my first OSR video, but today we're going to talk about the Undying Sands. Hey everybody, Jordan here, the PH is silent, and this is something that came in the mail today, and it was too cool that I wanted to make a video and tell you guys about it. Unfortunately, I think it is out of print and difficult to get. So aside from PDFs, this might not be a thing that you can go out and purchase. And again, this isn't a review or anything. I bought this with my own money, but it's an OSR product called the Undying Sands. And what it is exactly is there are a bunch of hexes within this bag that I have, and you build a giant desert as you're playing. It's a system neutral expansion. So yeah, it's any fantasy system you want to use, anything that has like a desert and desert creatures in it. If it's a RPG, you can use this to facilitate exploring a desert. All it comes with are these tiles, a really cool bag to hold them in, a picture that I will hold up later of the major city, and a picture of the pyramid is on the back that you can explore. And then finally, it comes with this dungeon screen. So this is a judge or dungeon master screen that you put in front of you, and it does all kinds of hiding of dice rolls and stuff. But on the inside is everything you need to run the game. So there's no book with this. There's literally just tiles and this, but it's everything you need for a fun desert experience. We're gonna jump into it now. All right, everybody, so I have a couple of webcams set up, and this is the Undying Lands hexagons. Hexagons are the bestagons. And I guess I wanted to show you, like, this is all of the hexes that you get. Now, some of these have some really cool artwork on them. Like, this looks like some kind of magical oasis. We've got an abandoned castle surrounded by fog, and on the back of them they'll say a hex and a number, and that hex and a number corresponds to this chart, which you can see number 7 here has a bunch of stuff. We'll get into this a little bit later, but I just wanted to show you really quick the actual hexagons. I think this one is not used. All right, now the idea is that your party will start on a certain hex. And this is a large creature, WizKids Mini, so you can see how large the hexagons actually are. And then from your Undying Sans bag, you will grab a random hexagon and your players explore. So you say which direction you want to go in, and they say they want to go in this direction, and then they move, and there are some random encounters that you roll. Or if they land on an actual like hex 10 here, so let's say they go north next, now I would read the information on hex 10 and they would have an interesting adventure of some sort. So that is how it works. It's really simple, but it's really cool. And I like that it is randomly generated every single time you play. Also, it kind of encourages you to erase the board every once in a while because your party gets lost or they get disoriented. The idea is that the desert is not the same every single time. So if my players had to come back to this, maybe you run them through a little mini game where it's like, well, the sand kingdom that you went to before is not in the same place that you thought it was, and that can be reflected with the hexagons being in a different order. If you like hex crawls, this is kind of a really cool idea, and I just like the art. I think it's really cool. I like the idea behind this whole thing, like physical objects to push around at the table. Super fun. So really quick, this is the website Exalted Funeral, and this was made in the UK, I believe, but they picked up a bunch stateside, and they're the ones that I have found that are selling it. I'll put some links down below. These are not affiliate links, so they're just, this is where you get it kind of a thing. But I would Google it, and you'll probably find some other places. But yeah, the Undying Sands is a system-agnostic RPG setting in the hex and screen format, highly compatible with traditional sword and sorcery and science fiction role-playing games. It includes 30 hexes, a GM screen, a handout poster, and a cloth bag. PDF files are included. So speaking of those PDF files, we're gonna dive into that. Boom, PDF, here we go. So this is the Undying Sands. This is the Game Master's screen divided into 4 different pages. If you want the entire screen as one image, it also comes with a PDF like that. And then you get individual PNGs of all of the different hexes that you could possibly go on. That are, included in the thing. So here's like a bunch of stuff, and then just, sand. So far, my favorite, and we're going to get to this, is there are necro-camelmancers, and they run the camels of the undead. It's really, really freaking cool. So diving into the PDF here, we'll go around this. There's what is this, how to use it, which is basically what I explained. You put hands into your bag and you build as you go, and then you kind of go with that. Basically, like, don't worry, da-da-da-da-da. Games Omnivorious is the one that created this. So I really want to highlight them. They've made some other really interesting things that I found on their website, like an RPG that's linked to a record. And you play the record and play the RPG, and they kind of like go in sync. And I just thought that was really cool. That unfortunately was out of print, so I hope it comes back at some point. Here are, this whole game is tables. So you have rumors to get them into the desert, looting the body, what do they find? Treasure, what do they find? And then encounters in the sand. So if we run and we show up with just a regular sand tile, then I would roll a d20. And all of a sudden I have a 2-headed mammoth ostrich. Now the problem is that these don't come with stats because it's system agnostic, but if you're clever, then you can come up with a lot of these on your own. A 2-headed ostrich could be a pterodactyl that has 2 attacks, kind of a thing, without flight. The great worm of the sands, nearly unkillable, good luck, like we all know that. A fossilized gator, we do an undead gator. So you can kind of create these if you're familiar with the game that you're running. Be it Dungeons & Dragons 5e, be it Old School Essentials, BX D&D, or what I think this would be really great for is Dungeon Crawl Classics. It just has that same vibe. Dangers of the Land, we have, well, actually, I want to talk about a couple of more of these. We got Ancient Robots, I love it. Alligator Ghouls, a glowing hyena, they're hungry and radioactive. So there's just a lot of really fun stuff here. Dangers of the Land, we have quicksand, there's a sandstorm, 1d6 pieces of equipment are damaged or lost. Scorching winds, you take damage equivalent to a firebolt. Heat wave, you have to consume more water. And that's another thing, is this is a resource heavy kind of thing because you are going through a hex crawly desert. Of course, you're gonna have resources that are going to be expended. So if you are doing this, it is hinted that you should play with resources. So keep that in mind. Shifting Sands, place 1d6 hexes back in the bag and draw as many. That's really fun. Delirium, place all hexes in bag and draw a new starting hex. So lots of fun with this. There's also Curses, which is the Undying, a lot of the situations kind of pop up that there might be a curse. So you have Fool's Plight, cannot resist buying useless things. And let me tell you, there are plenty of that to buy. Sands of Time, you age 1d3 decades per day. So and these curses last 1 to 6 days or until the victim leaves the sands. That's really fun. Jumping over to the next page, this is all of the different hexes that you can go through. And then the main hex is the Forgotten Pyramids. And I'm gonna open up the Forgotten Pyramids poster here. So it comes with this poster, and this is like a mini dungeon within the Hex Crawl that you can go through. And I shouldn't say mini, like it's a full dungeon, like there's lots of stuff to do. So when you get here, you can go through this, and I think I'll try to do like a side-by-side, yeah. So here's our, this is the poster that comes with the adventure, but inside here we have like, here's a secret passage and lots of crazy things like looted funeral chamber. A ghost will offer you advice in exchange for a new treasure, but you need to get a new haircut. I'm sorry, that's what the ghost wants, and you got to listen to him. Really fun. I just thought this was the coolest product, and I was so excited that it came in the mail today. And then finally, the last one is the Great Sand City, and that also comes with a big poster. So this, well, I shouldn't say big, it's a letter-sized poster, but this is the Great Sand City. Really cool art, lots of fun, I love it. And so over here, the Great Sand City, and these are the different points of interest that they can go to. Again, this is very minimal. This is not like an entire adventure, but it got me thinking of, man, I really want a desert thing in my campaign. And this is a fun way to just plot it down into your campaign. And then boom, you have a really cool desert that is kind of interesting. I know the art is by an artist that also did a different rendition of the map of Hot Springs Island. And if you haven't heard of Hot Springs Island, I did a review on my other channel and I'll put it down here, but it really, that's an module that I ran that's system agnostic. And it got me thinking about this plus Hot Springs Island and like a couple of other resources that I know about. It would be cool to build a Frankenstein campaign setting using all of these different materials. So you leave the Great Sand City to find Hot Springs Island across the ocean or something like that. There are 4 factions, because of course there are. You're going to have all these different, the Necro Camelmancers, wizards who control the undead camel races. They are feared and wish to preserve the status quo. Best use of a necromancer I have ever seen. They have jobs for you, so you can do all these different jobs and go back out into the desert. And they have shops that do all of these different things. And then here are the various places. Doesn't give you a lot of information about it, but you, as the dungeon master, where do they want to go? Like, the world's their oyster, and then you get to improv. You get to make it up on the fly. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully this is a shorter video, as I didn't want to spend a ton of time on this. And again, I'll put links down below, but the Undying Sands, what do you think? Is this something you would use at your table? I really want to support awesome stuff that happens in the indie tabletop RPG scene, because right now I feel like they're making some of the coolest things, and this is one of them. So again, I'll put links down below. You can see all of the different things that Exalted Funeral has. I highly recommend the Undying Sands, and I think that I'm going to incorporate this into maybe a 5e game or whatever I run next. I just finished a Numenera game, and I think I want to run Dungeon Crawl Classics next, or an Old School Essentials game. It's a tough pick. I have to talk to my players. Anyway, what are you guys playing? Let me know in the comments below. Let me know if you think you would use this, and if you want more videos like this in the OSR genre, let me know, and I'll see what I can come up with. Until then, I'll see you all in the next video.